This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
I've talked about generative AI almost every single day for the past 3 years. And one of the more surprising things that still shocks me to this day is how few people actually use NotebookLM on an ongoing basis. Yes, this tool went mega viral about a year ago with the audio overviews, right? The two very human sounding AI voices that would make a podcast about any of your content. But I think some people looked at that as a novelty and thought that's all NotebookLM was. Well, that's very wrong because the team at Google has continued to improve NotebookLM behind the scenes. And I think it's time today we give it a little more love and go over some of the newest updates to NotebookLM and tell you how to use some of these new features like custom reports, flashcards, the new audio formats, and more. All right, I'm excited to dive in. I hope you are too. What's going on, y'all? If you're new here, welcome to Everyday AI. My name is Jordan Wilson, and this is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday business leaders like you and me not just keep up with AI, but how we can make sense and get ahead. Take all these new updates and use them to grow our companies and our careers. That's exactly what we do here. It starts with the unedited, unscripted live stream podcast. But if you want to take it to the next level, our website, youreverydayai.com. There, you can go sign up for our free daily newsletter. We're going to be recapping the highlights from today's show, what you're listening to right now. So make sure you go read today's newsletter, but also keeping you up to date with all the other AI news that matters. So if you want that, make sure to go check the newsletter. So let's talk about all of these NotebookLM updates. There's been multiple waves of updates just this month. Yeah, and we're only 10 days in, and there's been multiple rounds of updates to NotebookLM, and I think they're really worth talking about. So on today's show, we're going to go over those handful of new NotebookLM updates. I'm going to show you how to use them live. Hopefully nothing goes wrong, right? Doing live demos of generative AI. And then I'm going to give you example use cases to take advantage of these new features. And yeah, stick around to the end. I actually created a database of 20 fantastic use cases that are just specific to these new features, all sortable. So make sure if you want free access to that, I'm going to tell you how at the end of this podcast. So let's dive straight into the new updates. Here they are. Ready? Number one, custom reports. And I'm going to show you all of these here live in a couple of minutes. Then there's flashcards. These are great. So flashcards and quizzes, kind of very similar, but very different use cases, both new features in NotebookLM. Then you have dynamic report suggestions, a little different from custom reports. I'll tell you the difference. There's a dedicated blog post report, which I think a lot of people are going to use and maybe abuse. Then there's the new audio formats for the deep dive podcast. So the deep dive isn't the only dive that you have to do anymore, as well as there's now 80 new languages supported for reports. All right. And if you're wondering, wait, wasn't there a bigger thing recently? Yeah. The video overviews, probably I'd say just as useful as the audio overviews were just announced in July. So we went over those in the last day of July. So if you want to go, we're not going to be going over that, but we did do episode 578, going over the new video overviews. All right. So I told you what's new, but you might be thinking, okay, what's this NotebookLM thing? Why should I use it? I already use Gemini or I use ChatGPT. That's fine. So let me tell you a little bit about NotebookLM. We've done plenty of shows, but to save you the time to go back and listen to it, let me just give you the gist here. All right, NotebookLM is grounded in your data. So I'm going to give you a live example here, but essentially it starts with nothing. You can't just go and use NotebookLM. You have to give it data, right? You can copy and paste data. You can use YouTube links, URLs, etc. And this is why it's so powerful and why hallucinations pretty much don't exist in NotebookLM, because it only works with the data you give it. Whereas a normal large language model, ChatGPT, Google's own Gemini, Claude, Copilot, etc., it's trained on essentially the entirety of the internet, right? And there's a lot of mistakes that can be made. And Notebook LM is great at just saying like, I don't know, or hey, if you ask it about something that's not in your source files, it's not going to pretend it knows, which is extremely helpful. But you do have to use this for certain use cases, and you have to be intentional about using Notebook LM versus, using Google Gemini or ChatGPT or something like that. So you can't just go in and open it and start using it. You have to kind of give it the data that it works with, which I think some people might look at it and think it's a negative, but I think that's the biggest positive, right? Talk about trust and transparency. One of the biggest things that people look for in in AI tool or in a large language model, it's there by default. So you can't understate that. A couple other things to keep in mind about Notebook LM, because people are like, wait, isn't this just Google Gemini? Like I said, that's the big difference there. But it is based on Gemini 2.5 Flash, which is a hybrid model that can think. Okay, inside Notebook LM, podcast audience, this might be one of those. You might go want to watch the video of this because I'm going to be explaining some things earlier, but I'm going to try to do my best. So you can always go watch the video on our website at youreverydayai.com. But there's essentially 3 different panes in Notebook LM. So on the left side, you'll have your sources. In the middle, you kind of have your chat window where you're going to be chatting with Gemini 2.5 Flash. And then on the right side, you have your studio. So a lot of these new features are going to live inside of the studio. So inside the studio, you have your audio overviews, your video overviews, your mind maps, your reports, your flashcards, and your quizzes. Another thing to know about Notebook LM, a lot of people don't know, your chat history doesn't save. All right. So if you go in there and you're finding value with Notebook LM, you got to make sure to save things as a note. Okay. Notebook LM. So it's not like ChatGPT where you can, start chatting with it one day, leave it, go back the next week, and all of that context is still there. It disappears. All right. So you have to manually save it. And like I said, this is, I think, one of the most valuable pieces of generative AI ever created. It is that good. It is that unique. There is nothing, literally nothing that works like this, that is intuitive and essentially free, right? So yeah, you can use this for free. There are limits, but even on the free plan, I don't know many people that would ever hit the limits. And if you already have a paid Google subscription, so, if your company, as an example, uses Google for your Gmail, then you have a paid plan of Notebook LM, which makes it even better, the Notebook LM Plus. All right. So like I said, let's dive in a little bit more and talk about what's new in these updates. All right. So bringing up some of the details here from the Notebook LM team, which they shared online. So here we go. So they are saying reports are getting a major update starting today. You can now create your own report that perfectly fits your needs by specifying the structure, style, tone, and more. They've added the language picker to reports, so you can now create a report in any of the 80 plus supported languages. So the dynamic suggestions for Notebook LM, so I'll show you that. But when you go in, it will suggest different topics or themes, all based on your sources, from overviews to deep dives. So they're saying, for example, if you upload scientific papers, then the dynamic suggestions might suggest creating a white paper, while news articles could generate explainers. The next one is you can now fully customize prompts to any of your reports with those custom reports. And then they have the new blog post as a stock report. Then a little bit more on flashcards and quizzes. All right. It's funny, literally covering this on ChatGPT like 2 weeks ago. And then I said, Notebook LM, this is the one feature they've got to add. And then they went and added it, teased it anyways, like that day. So they said, Notebook LM said on Twitter, also, while we have your attention, flashcards and quizzes are rolling out. You can now create customizable flashcards and quizzes in Notebook LM. So if you're stumped on a question, you can tap the explain button to receive an in-depth summary on the chat. And then last but not least, some more explanations on the new audio overview formats. So the default, which is what many of you, if you've ever used NotebookLM and kind of generated these podcasts with the two different hosts, that is the default, which is deep dive, and it's a thorough examination of your sources. Then you have new ones, which are the brief, that is a 1 to 2 minute bite-sized overview. Then you have critique, which is an expert review offering constructive feedback on your material, and then debate, a thoughtful debate between the two hosts. All right, so those are the different updates there. I showed you them all on paper. I gave you a quick explanation, but we're going to go through and let's just do it all live. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and explain what we have going on in NotebookLM and a little one I have set up.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. So live stream audience, if you could let me know if you can see it, that would be fantastic. All right, so let me actually see if I can adjust this a little bit, get my big head out of the way so we can see the sources. All right, let's try it this way. There we go. Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do right now, I have a NotebookLM notebook started, and I've essentially gone through dating all the way back to May. All right, so yes, this is I forgot to say, this is kind of our weekly, putting AI to work on Wednesdays. I've actually been a little sick, so bringing it to you on a Thursday. But what I did do is I went through and I got all of our AI News That Matters transcripts dating all the way back to May. All right, and all I did, so when I went into NotebookLM, it's a blank slate. So I added these all manually one by one. Didn't take long, took about three to 5 minutes, right? I have them all up on the website, on our website. There's the transcript. We have a little brief write-up, everything. I just Command A, Command C, copy, paste, put it in there, bam, didn't take long. So on the left-hand side, I have all my sources, and then I just labeled them by the date. So these are transcripts of the podcasts. And most of our AI news podcasts are about 40 minutes because there's a ton of AI news and we cover so much. All right. So a lot of this is stuff that I would probably not even remember. All right. So that's what I have inside this notebook right now inside of NotebookLM. All I did was I loaded all the sources. So on the left-hand side, I have the sources. On the middle, I have the chat window. So that is, I can ask a normal question like, what day did GPT-5 come out? All right. We'll see if I got it right. I don't know if I actually referenced it came out blank day. Because I think it came out on a Tuesday, and on that Monday, I don't think I said it came out, Tuesday, July. So it went through and it said early August 2025. Yeah, because in the transcript, I didn't say what day it came out. I just said this week because, like I said, these shows are on Mondays. And then the GPT-5 was released on a Tuesday. So I just said it was released this past week. All right. So you'll see here, it could have went and found that information, but I didn't give it to it. And then the good thing about NotebookLM is I can scroll through and it's going to cite everything as well. This is great. So number one, even though in theory it could have went out and found that information, I didn't give NotebookLM that information because it wasn't in the transcript. I didn't say it came out on X date, but it did cite the source of where it pulled the other information from. So I can, in the body, I can highlight it and then go see exactly what source it was pulling from. I can click on it. It's going to take me exactly to that source, to the actual second of the transcript, and then it highlights it on the screen. So trust, transparency, bam, it's there. Fantastic. All right. But this is not about how this works, right? But I just wanted to show everyone you got your sources on the left. You can chat in the middle. And if you want to save this, like I said, if I refresh this right now, I just refresh my screen. That's gone. That question about GPT-5, right? So I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to say, when did Nano Banana come out? All right. It's going to go through. It's going to take a second. It's using Gemini 2.5 Flash, which is a hybrid model. It thinks, it plans. All right. So I'm just going to show everyone or on the live stream here. So if I want this information to be saved, I just have to click Save to Note, and then it's going to save it as a note. So on the right side, that's the studio. So the notes are at the bottom, and then you have your different kind of modules in the studio at the top. So you have your audio overview, your video overview, your mind map, your reports, your flashcards, and your quiz. All right, so I'm going to walk you through and talk you through how to use these because they're a little confusing. The user interface and user experience is a little confusing right now, but I did reach out to the NotebookLM team and they said that they're going to be fixing this, but I'm going to explain how it works because I've already heard from a lot of people saying like, hey, like this isn't working how I thought it would. When I click something, I can't go in and customize it. So there should be this little pencil icon. So as an example, I can create a quiz and let's just go ahead and do that. So give me a second here. I have, I'm going to go ahead and click quiz, but if I just click quiz, it's just going to create a quiz. So if I scroll to the bottom and look at all my, everything going on in my studio, it's just generating a quiz. But what if I want a quiz on something specific, right? So I'm going to say, I'm just customizing this here in a second. Okay. So now instead of just clicking the quiz button, you can actually click the pencil. Okay. And when I click the pencil, that means I can customize it. So I'm going to click fewer. So you can customize the number of questions. You can customize the difficulty, and then you can also customize it with your words. So I'm going to do fewer, number of questions, fewer, level of difficulty, hard. And I'm going to say, quiz me on the latest ChatGPT news and developments. Keep in mind that older pieces of news may be wrong or no longer relevant. So keep dates and updates in mind. All right, I'm going to click generate on that. We're going to give that one a second. I'm going to delete this other one, and then we're going to go through and do these live. I wanted you all to see this live, right? I know sometimes if you're listening on the podcast, it might sound like I'm stumbling and bumbling my way through. So thank you for bearing with me. So now I'm going to do the podcast. Okay. So I'm going to go up here to audio overview. All right. So I'm going to let all these generate right away. So I'm going to go to audio overview, and then here's our new options. So deep dive, that is the one that just about anyone has used. If you've listened to this at all, if you've used NotebookLM, you've probably used the deep dive. So now we have the brief, the critique, and debate. So again, brief is a bite-sized overview to help you grasp the core ideas from your sources quickly. Critique is an expert review of your sources, offering constructive feedback to help you improve the material. And then debate is a thoughtful debate between the two hosts, illuminating different perspectives from your sources. So I'm going to go ahead and click debate. Then you can also customize the language. I'm going to keep that in English. I'm going to put the length to short because I want this to generate before we're done with this podcast. And then I'm just saying, debate if Apple is winning or losing in AI, be decisive and specific in the debate, hot takes and trash talking encouraged. All right. So I'm going to click generate on that. All right, so our OpenAI quiz is done, but let's go ahead and generate a custom report. So I wanted to show everyone some of the new features across the different modules inside of Studio. So I do think the big ones are the new audio overviews, the quiz, and the flashcards. And the quiz and the flashcards are kind of the same. So I generated the quiz. We're going to take a look at that. And then let's take a look at the new reports. So this one, there is no pencil icon. All right. So if you're wondering, oh, how do I customize it? You just click it. All right. And then it's going to bring up a module. So at the bottom, it says loading suggestions. So it's actually using AI to come up with suggested reports. The suggested reports for this are a strategic memo, market analysis, explanatory article, or concept explainer. And now you'll see on the top row, you have the dedicated blog post. Now you might be wondering, especially if you're an avid NotebookLM user like I was, right away when I saw this, I'm like, yo, we're missing some things. There's an FAQ and a timeline that used to be de facto templated reports that are gone. So kind of a bummer, but you can obviously just go to create your own and just have it create a timeline or an FAQ. That was nice to be able to have those as default. Who knows? Maybe NotebookLM will add those back. But I'm going to go ahead and click create your own report. All right. Here, you just have the language and then you can describe the report. So all I'm saying is create a detailed report of the newest features and models added to ChatGPT. No news stories, just new features and models that have been added. Break it down by month, starting with the oldest updates first. All right, there we go. So our audio overview is generating. Our custom report is generating, but our OpenAI quiz is done. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And hey, if you're playing along at home, let's go ahead, go live stream audience, or if you're just listening to this, maybe in the car, I'm going to expand this. Let's play along, right? Let's learn together. All right. So there's only let's see. I think there's only 5 questions. Yeah. So play along, live stream audience, A, B, C, D. All right. So say 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. Let's see who gets it right. Let's see if I get it right. I don't know. All right. So it says, according to OpenAI's own data shared in the source material, what was the impact on user engagement with advanced reasoning models after the rollout of GPT-5's hybrid auto system? So it said engagement remained low with less than 1% of free users and only 7% of paid users accessing reasoning capabilities. That's A. B, engagement among paid subscribers jumped to 24%. C, engagement among free users surpassed that of paid users. Or D, engagement decreased overall. Luckily, I remember this one. It is, I hope, A. There we go. I got it right. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, man, I got it wrong. So it says engagement among paid subscribers jumped to 24%. Oh, this was a trick question. It literally got me. It was 7% before, and it jumped to 24% with GPT-5. Look at that. I got it wrong. And it came out of my own mouth. And so if you can already see how valuable something like this is, I use it all the time, right? I forgot this. It's something that literally came out of my mouth months ago, but because I do this every single day, I got confused. I saw that 7%, but it was actually a trick question. I made it hard, and it was actually a hard question. But the good thing is, when I clicked it, it instantly gave me feedback. So it highlighted the wrong answer that I chose, and then the right answer, and then gave explanations for each. That's great. All right, number 2. What strategic rationale, as explained by me, justifies OpenAI's $3 billion acquisition of the AI coding tool Windsurf? All right, so this one's more opinion, and it was based on my opinion. So I should have clarified that in the quiz. I should have said only on factual, like happening, like news developments or something like that. So it's going off of something that I riffed on maybe months ago. All right, so A, OpenAI's O3 model was underperforming and the acquisition was necessary. B, OpenAI lacked a dedicated IDE and Windsurf provides the race car needed. C, the primary goal was to prevent a competitor like Google or Anthropic from acquiring Windsurf's valuable user base. Or D, the acquisition was mainly to absorb Windsurf's talent. Ooh, this one is tough. And later it was, it didn't actually go through. Right. So I don't even remember at the time. So I'm going to guess here. Live stream audience, what do you think? Number 2. I'm going to say it was B, that they lacked a dedicated integrated IDE. All right, got that one right. Whew. All right, number 3, the updated advanced voice mode in ChatGPT introduced several new capabilities. Which of the following features was specifically highlighted as a significant enhancement for travelers and global professionals? Okay. So, A, improved ability to capture emotions like empathy and sarcasm. B, a new meeting recorder function that can transcribe and summarize conversations. C, continuous real time two-way language translation. Or D, integration with Perplexity's voice assistant. So, well, for specifically for travelers, that would be C, real time, continuous two-way language translation. All right, got that one right. Phew. 2 more. Thanks for playing along, y'all. All right, number 4, OpenAI's introduction of cloud connectors for ChatGPT business users enables searching and analyzing documents from various platforms. Which of the following platforms was not mentioned as being supported by this new feature? A, Google Drive and SharePoint. B, Dropbox and Box. C, Slack and Microsoft Teams. D, OneDrive. Oh my gosh. Um, Right now, as of today, they're all supported. So I don't know what date this is pulling from. So I probably should have specified in the quiz a little bit more. I did that in the custom report saying, like, hey, make sure to look at the newest information first because a lot of times this goes, things get updated. So the crazy thing is, right now, all of these are supported inside ChatGPT, except Slack. So I'm going to say C. Phew. I got that one right. Slack is quote unquote coming soon, but it's not rolled out yet. All right. That was close. And then our last question. Has anyone got them all right yet? I haven't even. So if you have, you're doing better than I am. All right. Number 5, OpenAI is planning to launch an AI-driven jobs board. Good. This one's a little more recent with a unique certification system. How will candidates earn these certifications for AI fluency? A, by completing traditional e-learning modules. B, by submitting a portfolio of AI-related projects. C, by earning them entirely through interactions within the ChatGPT interface. Or D, through partnerships with universities that will offer accredited AI courses. I know the answer for this one. It is C. All right, there we go. And a nice little recap screen here. It says you did it. Quiz complete. 4 out of 5, 80%. And then I can review or retake it. So quiz, as you can see, very helpful. This is something that I was using inside of ChatGPT. They just released a feature like this 2 weeks ago, and I've been loving it inside of NotebookLM. And the flashcards section is very much like that. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's check in on our 2 other things, and then I'll start to wrap today's show up. So now let's go ahead and take a look and a listen at, no, actually, let's do the report first. All right, so now in this report, all I said is create a detailed report of newest features and modes added to ChatGPT. No news stories, just new features and modes. Then I said sort it by date, oldest first. So I'm opening this up. Whoops. Okay, so here is our report, and it's starting with May. So this is good. Again, the transcripts for the podcast go all the way back to May. So May, it's talking about some foundational upgrades, rolling out 4.1 and 4.1 mini. That's crazy that that was May. That seems like years ago. All right, it made a nice little chart in here. This is good. Launching of Codex. There we go. All right, June, updates to projects, cross-chat memory. There we go. This is good. Let's keep going. OSS, open source, great. So yeah, good report. I'm not going to go through and read it all, but it did a really good job. Let me make sure. What was the last month? Let me see if it got September in here. May 2025. Where did June 20? Okay, there's June. Okay, so for some reason, it didn't go all the way through. It looks like the last month it got was just July. So for whatever reason, I probably would want to rerun this to see if it's a bug or see if I would need to specify that in my report. But y'all, what I hate the word human in the loop. I like to say expert driven loop. This is why you never just copy and paste something. Always double check, always verify, because even though, NotebookLM didn't make anything up, it didn't hallucinate. I see it didn't either, it didn't follow my directions correctly, or I needed to give it better and clearer directions. So, although it did a great job of pulling together information on this custom report, it didn't do exactly what I wanted to. But I'm looking back at my report, I didn't say do every single month. I just said create a detailed report of the newest features and modes. So I probably should have said, include everything from May to September. And I'm guessing it would have done a much better job. So I'm not going to give it a fail there. It's still passed. Everything's right. Everything's verified. It's just not correct enough, or it didn't give me everything that I ultimately wanted. All right. Then last but not least, let's go ahead and look and listen to the podcast.
Welcome to
the podcast. If you haven't used this, very cool. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but just so you know, you can change the playback speed. You can download this or you can share it. So we're just going to listen to maybe just like a minute here of this podcast. And again, the whole point of this, I said debate if Apple is winning or losing in AI. Be decisive and specific in the debate. Hot takes and trash talking encouraged. Let's listen to about a minute of it.
the debate. Today, we're cutting through the significant buzz surrounding Apple's advancements, or maybe the perceived lack thereof, in the rapidly evolving field of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of noise.
Exactly. And the central question for our discussion is, well, pretty sharp. Is Apple's current strategy in AI actually positioning it for long-term dominance, or does it signify a critical lag? A lag that, places it at a real disadvantage compared to its major competitors.
A potentially insurmountable one, some might argue.
Right. So I'll be arguing that Apple is making highly calculated strategic moves that set it up for future success.
And I'll contend that Apple's current state in AI is, frankly, a significant setback, maybe even bordering on a crisis.
Okay, well, my position is pretty unequivocal. Apple is executing a pragmatic yet bold long-term AI strategy.
All right. So just listen to about a minute of it there. You'll realize, which I mentioned this before, with some of the newer audio overviews, the voices are different. It might throw you off, right? Especially if you're someone like me. I've probably listened to hundreds of these NotebookLM audio overview podcasts. And I do like these new formats. The voices are a little different. And just like I said, keep in mind, you can change the playback speed on it. I always go, 2x on this. You can download it, you can share it, take it with you on the go. But I mean, so many great use cases here for the everyday business leader. Y'all, you can upload all your different documents. You can generate unlimited, right? That was another update that came a couple of months ago. You used to only be able to generate one audio overview. Now you can generate an unlimited amount and you can customize them as well. And then with these new audio overviews, like I said, so not only can you choose brief, critique, debate, but on top of that, you can have additional instructions. All right. And I'm going to go over with some of these use cases here, why that's incredibly important. But if you didn't see just in these new features that just came out, just the immense value, right? The customizable reports, the different audio overview types by default, the quizzes, the flashcards. I mean, one of the things, not to get too philosophical here or too deep, right? Because we're talking about new NotebookLM features, right? But one of the things that I worry about and that I have to constantly battle against when using AI is, sometimes we're exchanging short-term productivity for what, right? And I think what it's ultimately we're exchanging short-term productivity for is using our brains and flexing our skill sets, right? So as an example, most people, what they're using, ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or NotebookLM, a lot of times people are creating an output for something that they would normally do manually in a skill or a category or a type of work that is central to their job, central to their career, right? And you'll find the more that you start augmenting with AI, you're going to lose those skills eventually, right? So a lot of times we're having to produce more or maybe just saving time, one of the two, but at what expense, right? This is we have to talk about this other side of AI. And this is one of the reasons why I love NotebookLM, because I think when you can look at ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Copilot, etc., and in those instances, I think sometimes we're handing too much over to the AI. The Notebook LM, it's a tool I love because it's not something that's necessarily going to go out and, autonomously complete tasks for you like you can in ChatGPT or Gemini. But it's really what I've used it for is to actually learn and to retain information and to sharpen my skills. And these new updates released by Google just, I think, reiterate that and really help push that even further. So if you're wondering, like, why would I ever use this? I'm going to give you some use cases, but I'm letting you know personally, Notebook LM is one of the tools that I use constantly, and it's helping me remember things a little better, retain information, and just become sharper on subjects that would normally take entirely too long. Where I think sometimes when you jump into, Gemini, ChatGPT, etc., you're just kind of just replacing your skill set, right? So, Notebook LM in that case is a great balance. All right. So let's wrap this thing up. But I did say a couple use cases. So let's talk about those. One, which plays off just what I showed you with the new briefing, the different audio podcast variants. So a couple different use cases. So one would be an executive briefing for an audio podcast. So in this example, you can generate a brief format, the new brief format for a busy CEO. You can critique format to highlight risks, the debate format for controversial decisions, whatever it may be. Dump all your important information, data in there, and then generate multiple of those podcasts to help walk you through and talk you through maybe some decisions you're facing. So you can upload the quarterly data and it can just become a different audio experience based on what leadership needs to hear. And then you can send the right audio format to each executive based on their decision-making style, right? That's the great thing. You can have all the same documents, right? 50 documents, you can have all 50 selected, and then you can, create a different podcast overview for different people depending on their learning style, depending on their position, right? People don't know this, you don't have to have all 50 sources selected. You can have just 5 sources selected, and it will just base the audio overview on those sources selected. So that's a great use case. All right. Here's maybe a no-brainer one, but I think most people should be doing this with the new flashcards. So a sales team competitive intel flashcard. So you can turn your competitors' pricing sheets, which they probably have online, and objection handling docs into practice flashcards for specific deal scenarios. So this is great for sales reps to drill on pricing responses and feature comparisons until they're confident before the big presentation. Then you can share flashcard sets across the entire sales organization for consistent competitive messaging. It's a huge one, right? It sounds like a small little thing. Like you might think it's gimmicky, like, oh, I'm not in third grade learning division. Why would I need flashcards? There's a great reason, right? Especially for salespeople that need to be on, need to be interactive. You need to be able to handle, objection handling in real time. This is a great way to learn and to keep it on brand and consistent. Third one, board meeting standardization custom report. So you can create a standardized board update template that pulls information from all of your different docs, key metrics, risks, and opportunities consistently. And then every department can use the same reporting format, but you can tailor it to their specific data and priorities with that custom reporting. So go use that custom reporting instructions. And like I said, depending on what department or role people play, you can toggle different sources on and off. And then this can eliminate last minute board packet scrambling with repeatable monthly reporting templates. All right. I hope this show was helpful. So like I said, we went over a ton that's new inside of Notebook LM. I would say more than a handful of great new features, including the pre-built different audio overview formats, customizable reports, flashcards, quizzes, just a wealth of information. And like I started the show saying, I can't believe how few people are still using Notebook LM on a day-to-day basis. It is, I kid you not, I still can't believe this technology exists. It is incredibly useful, right? You might, even if you've used ChatGPT, Gemini, these other large language models, and sometimes you're like, no, this isn't really doing it for me. Try NotebookLM. Put your meetings in there, your meeting transcripts, your company's website, internal, external documents, right? Your KPIs, your quarterly reports, your competitors' information. And then just look at all of these new updates that I talked about. It is going to change how you learn, how you create, and maybe even how you think and interact with others. All right, so I do hope this show was helpful. If it was, click that repost. Here's why. I teased this at the beginning of the show. All right, I put together a database of 20 different use cases. I just gave you 3 of them. I created 20 different use cases in a database. You can go sort these by job type, so HR, sales, finance, etc., or you can sort them by the type, right? The new customer reports, the flashcards, etc. All these use cases are built out. There's example prompts to get you started. So if you heard something in here and you're like, yeah, I think this is helpful, but I need a little bit more, this is how you do it. So just go repost this show on LinkedIn. All right. So if you're listening on the podcast, we always put the LinkedIn link on there, or you can connect with me and just go find today's show, right? Thursday, September 11th. Go repost that, and I will share this new database that we just put together with these 20 business use cases specifically for these new NotebookLM features. All right. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.